My name is Arthur Parks. I'm a Senior Associate Athletic Director at Providence College. On Friday, Bob Driscoll announced after 21 years of service, he would be retiring as the Athletic Director at Providence College. Shortly, we'll hear from Bob. Before we hear from Bob, it's my pleasure to introduce Providence College President, Father Kenneth R.
Thanks, Arthur. Good morning, everybody. This is my first time doing this, so this is kind of unnerving, but I'm happy to be here with you this morning. And I know it's no secret anymore that Bob's going to be retiring from his position as Vice President, Athletics Director at Providence College at the end of this academic year. And let me tell you, this is really a bittersweet moment for Providence College and for me personally. On the one hand, I am delighted that Bob is finally going to be able to spend some time with his beautiful wife, Kathy, at their new home in Florida. And, for decades, Bob has been hard at work, and he's finally going to be able to do what he wants to do. And I'm so happy for you and for Kathy. But again, it's bittersweet because Bob has been such an important part of the fabric of Providence College for more than 20 years. And in the roles that I've played at PC, Bob has just been an amazing colleague and teammate and friend. And I know Father Shanley would say the same thing. And he's just been so important to us. And he's so loved by the Friar family, our faculty, our staff, our students, our alums, our fans, our donors, and of course by his colleagues in athletics and at the Big East. And from the very beginning, Bob's goal has been to oversee a program that has, as he puts it, dignity and class that represents the best of Providence College. And he's inspired his coaches, his staff, and above all, our student athletes to want the same. And me personally, I and the college, we couldn't be more proud and grateful for what Bob has been able to accomplish. Our Friars have won national championships and been valedictorians. They've become professional sports stars and Olympians. They've become successful business and community leaders. We even had a couple of nuns. And, all right. And I think a lot of their success, they would acknowledge that it was due to the mentorship and the inspiration they got from Bob, because Bob always inspired them to be the best that they could be. And one of the things that I am going to miss most about Bob is his passion and his enthusiasm. Even in difficult, lousy moments at times, Bob has remained optimistic and cheerful, and he's made the rest of us feel so much better. He's made us all feel so good with all of his Go Friars as he left the room. Now, I know that there is a lot of speculation about what's going to happen next at Providence College. And I promise I will be talking about that very, very soon, but not today. Today, this is all about Bob. And again, Bob, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all you've done for me, for Providence College. And I wish you and Kathy the very best. You're always going to be part of the Friar family. I look forward to our continued friendship. God bless you. God bless Kathy. God bless Providence College, and go Friars.
Thank you. Well, now you know why he's president. That's his first press conference. He's had a press already. Nice job. Great day to be a friar, isn't it? 12 o'clock.
Always.
On Sunday. Father did Mass this morning, so God is on our side. We're going for our next win. Ed, thank you for being here. You know, I love you. It tells you the kind of man that he is. He's got the most important game, and he's standing here as part of the Friar family, as are my other teammates as well. So this is going to be my last press conference, so I'm going to take a couple of minutes, if you don't mind, because it's important for me to really thank and appreciate my family and my teammates. And I'm so happy that my pickleball champion and my lovely wife, Kathy, flew up from Florida, canceled her game to be here with me today. But I want to thank you, first of all, Father. Father has done an amazing job as president during the most difficult time, really, in the history of Providence College. Try leading a college during a pandemic, and you find out what leadership really is. And he has such a great cabinet. We have our teammates up front and trustees, but the way he's managed this has been unbelievable. There's a lot of programs and colleges out that shut down. We didn't do that. We stayed open for our family, and he deserves a lot of credit. And he likes to say he doesn't know a lot about athletics. Trust me, he's the smartest guy in the room. I heard that he was reading books on hockey the other day, and so he's figuring it out pretty quickly. But what you may not know is that I reported to father the entire time, with the exception of the last year, a couple of years when I became a vice president. So we've gone through this together for a long time. He has a PhD in athletics, trust me. So
I had a good teacher.
And you've taught me a lot as well. So that's what teammates are. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank Father Shanley, his other teammate and roommate, who is the president at St. John's, who is an amazing man, an amazing friar. I love him like a brother and miss him. And I cheer for St. John's every day that he's not playing us. And I so loved when he was running around here with that awful red jacket on that day. And Ed, thank you. We won, right? We won that game. But he deserves a lot of credit. If you go on our campus, it's completely transformed. And he was so amazing from an athletic standpoint. I will be ever indebted to him. I love him. I also want to thank Father Smith. You know, many of you may not know Father Smith, but he was the president that brought me to Providence College, and I'm forever indebted to him for that. God rest his soul. The only thing, I don't think Father Smith actually knew what he was getting in me. I'm kind of a obsessive, neurotic, kind of competitive guy, and I know I pushed a lot of folks out of their comfort zone, but that's the only way I knew how to do this. But I promise you, I wouldn't be here without him. I remember vividly when I had my interview here 20 years ago. My goal was to be the AD at the University of California. I was the acting AD. I did it for 6 months. I thought I had the job, and they gave the job to my crew coach. So it was one of those aha moments in your life, like what's going on here, right? But here's how ironic, and I call this divine providence. I really do. My best friend that I grew up with in Commonwealth Ave called me up, and he said, "Hey, did you know the Providence job is open?" I said, "No, I didn't know at all." So I called the headhunter. And he said, "No, don't send your stuff in. It's already going to be filled." I said, "No, just look at my resume. Just fly me back. We'll have a conversation." So I was able to convince him. You may not know this story. So they flew me back. They kept me over by the airport, and I had an interview. And at the end of the table was this really distinguishing-looking Dominican priest. His name was Father Morrison. I don't know if you know Father Morrison at all. He's not here anymore, but a legendary teammate. He was actually the visionary. He's like the executive vice president that convinced the people to come up with $25,000 to join the Big East. $25,000, which is a lot of money in those days, Father, right?
Yep.
And we wouldn't be sitting here today with a sold-out crowd playing in the Big East first place if it wasn't for Father Morris. But it goes bigger than that. So he never said a word, and I was intimidated, right? He was sitting there with his robes and stuff, and I walked out, and he said, "Young man." Now, I wasn't young. I was 49, but to him, he thought I was young. He said, "You did a really good job." I said, "Well, thank you, Father." He said, "We'll see you again." I said, why do you say that? He said, "Because God brings those people to Providence College when it's their time." And he said, "It's your time." I said, "Well, thank you, Father." So I went home, talked to Kathy. She said, "How do you think it went?" I said, "I have no idea, but I met this really cool Dominican priest, and he knows God personally." And he told me I was coming to Friartown. Next day, the phone rings, offered me the job. And it was such a blessing and gift for me because I wanted to be an AD in the worst way. I had a lot of things I wanted to try to teach my teammates, but it got me back home. I grew up in West Concord. My mom and dad were older. They weren't well. So I got to come here and be with them. And I can still remember my dad coming out the first time. He had those friars ears on, the proudest guy on the planet. And unfortunately got sick and they passed. But the blessing was I got to be with them the entire time. And all the Dominican community came up, was at my family's wakes and funerals, and the Friar family was really special. Then I realized it really was divine providence in God's work. So remember the name Father Morris. He's a special, special man. So three things I want to say. Number one, we are where we are today because we started with what I call a conversation of possibility. My teammates in the back, Jill and Steve, know what this is. I had a life's coach named Roland Todd who taught me that you can accomplish anything in your life if you think big enough and surround yourself with people that will work hard enough towards a common goal. And that's when we had that conversation about let's create the model program in all of college athletics. Let's be the most respected, Let's graduate every student athlete and let's compete for championships. Now, when you talk about that stuff, people think you're completely out of your mind, right? They go, that's not going to happen. But they're the naysayers. If you get enough people around you that believe it's possible, anything is possible. And so I think if we have any legacy as teammates, is that we've thought big, and we've actually created an environment where people kind of want to be part of that. People ask me all the time, is that how did we have success? The success to Providence College are the people.
Mhm.
It's the Dominicans first and foremost. I don't have to write emails. Father tells me something, it's a bond, right? It's not like you cover your butt, it's the power of trust, and that's what creates it. And there's alignment from the trustees to the president, to the athletic director, to the coaches, to the student athletes. We are all completely on the same page. And so what we have in Friartown, we have a culture of people who love and respect and admire each other. You know, when you notice it, when you go through the difficult times. I was reading Kevin's article the other day, and Kevin, thank you for being a great teammate. But he pointed out some of the bad hires I've made in my life, right? And I have. But you know what? At Providence College, if given the opportunity to work through your failures, I believe breakdowns create the opportunity for breakthroughs. And if you're a leader, you're going to make mistakes. It's not that you make mistakes, it's how you handle the mistakes. So I just want to say thank you to my teammates. Certainly, I want to thank my staff, my cabinet, my folks that have given so much, my coaches. We have some of the best coaches in the country here who don't leave because this is a destination and not a stepping stone. And certainly our student athletes. Our young people represent us with such dignity and class. And I talk to them all the time about, hey, this is about playing a bigger game. It's about playing the game of life and learning through sports, hard work, dedication, commitment, love for each other, loyalty, selflessness. That's what creates championship teams and organizations. And I will say to you, and Father has a big decision on who the next AD is. And I've shared my thoughts with Father, and this is an important hire for him. And one of the things I said to Father was, if an organization is broken and the culture is bad and you're not having success, maybe you look someplace else. But if it's going well, the best organizations look from within. They look at the teammates, the people who helped us get there. And we are a great organization. We'll continue to do so. And I hope I'll have some small role as we move into the future. I want to thank Val and the biggies. I see my teammate John Fanta in the back. Thank you for being here, my brother, my friend. You do an amazing job. God bless you. Val and Vince, we got the best basketball conference in the nation, the best. And we're blessed to have those folks as well. I also want to thank our fans. We're undefeated at home because we have the best fans in college basketball. And Larry, thank you for always being a great teammate. The dunk rocks. I heard we just got a little bit more money that hopefully we can continue to do some more things because we want to be top in the nation. And lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Kathy, my children, Tara, Kelly, and Sean, and my granddaughter, Sophia. She has been selfless in letting me pursue my life's dreams. I'm not an easy person to kind of be around a lot of the times because I'm obsessively driven. It's a gift and it's a curse. But when you have a woman and a wife or a partner that allows you to be you and is 100% supportive, even during the difficult times, she's been my consigliere. We'd lay in bed at nights and talk about how we're going to solve it. But some of my happiest moments really were when we won the Big East championship and we won the national championship. We'd have stayed up all night just saying, do you believe this happened? Do you believe this miracle took place? And it's a big reason why I'm retiring. I have more energy and passion and actually, I think, abilities at this point than at any point in my life. And I still want to coach. I still want to teach. I still have a lot to add. But I owe it to Kathy, who's dedicated her life to me. And now it's my responsibility to dedicate my energy and passion to the woman who's dedicated so much to me. So that's why I'm retiring, but I'm really not retiring. I'm recreating myself, if you will. But I just want to say thank you. I love you all. I love Friartown. This has been a gift. It has been divine providence, and I appreciate you all being here. And the media, you've been great to us. Even when times were tough, you're always honest. You always treat us fairly, and I really appreciate it. And Frank, my Ithaca Bomber teammate, there's a small world. It's like 2 degrees of separation here in Friartown. So with that, Thank you for letting me go on as long as I did, but it's important for me to say those things as I leave Friartown. So God bless you all.
Thank you, Bill.
Go Friars.
Go Friars.
Good morning, Father. Congratulations. Just curious about the timing of your announcement. Why now?
Well, Father and I have been talking about it for 6 months. When I knew I couldn't give him the length, I mean, he's a new president. He needs somebody that's going to be with him for a long period of time. And, you know, in fairness to him, he needs somebody that's going to be in the trenches with him for a long period of time. And I couldn't give him that commitment. So this process has been ongoing. Father's been doing his due diligence for a long time. I've shared my knowledge. I mean, I know this world as well as anybody in the country. So he has somebody that has been really honest with him. And Father's a smart guy. He's going to do what's right for Providence. But it was about him needing somebody long-term, me committing my life to my wife. You know, I'm not as young as you may think I am. I've got some wounds, no teeth, and a bunch of injuries from playing sports. So, you know, who knows how long we're going to be on this planet. So I've got to take whatever energy and time I have and dedicate to my family. But this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. We talked about it for a long time, and we talk about it every day.
So Bob, was there a moment where you sort of clicked for you that maybe I should do this, or it sounds like this was something you picked up a lot?
You know, the pandemic really put a twist in it. Before they had the vaccine and we had built this house in Florida, I worked down there from a year ago, November to March, and it gave me a little flavor of what it could be. I mean, I literally travel all the time. I'm shaking hands, I'm kissing babies. I mean, it's a 7-day-a-week job. And, you know, I've got a lot of energy, but my body just started, you know, I've got neck injury. I've got a bunch of stuff from playing sports and the 6 months I had to work normally, like normal people, I found out that I recovered. And so I was like, well, maybe this is what I need to do. I better take better care of my health. But you know what's ironic about that question? It didn't become real until I told my staff on Friday morning in a Zoom. And when it came out of my mouth, I actually broke down because I couldn't believe it became real at that moment. But it's all good. I was telling Father, I said, we're here celebrating a first team in the Big East, a sold out crowd, new opportunities, great program. This is a celebration today. So I guess all those things, and you never know it's the right time, right? I never thought I'd retire, but I don't call it retirement. It's a recreation, really.
Bob, go back to 2011. How much the moves that you made, the firings, the hirings, how long do you go forward with the vision that you made in Boston College in 2001?
Well, what's ironic about that, people can say they were bad hires. They were good hires. Keno was the National Coach of the Year, and Timmy Army was one of the best coaches ever, right? So it just didn't work out. But the turning point, really, we had the infrastructure, but unfortunately, we're judged by how men's basketball does or men's ice hockey does. Our other programs are doing really well, but nobody really pays attention to those. The public persona, we're like a professional sports town here with basketball. So it really wasn't broken. But I got very fortunate with my hire of Ed, who's turned out to be my brother and my lifelong friend. And the same thing with Nate. As a hockey person, I'm standing here today because I got a scholarship to play hockey. So it's my number one love. So I wouldn't say it was transformational other than I got the right coaches, and I had a president and an executive vice president who allowed me to make mistakes and move on. A lot of schools, I would have been fired. You know, you got to blame it on somebody for the bad decisions, and they would have tried to start over. But they had confidence and believed in me to give me the chance to right the ship. I don't know if that answers your question, but but Ed and Nate and all of our other teammates is what made it happen. Also, Jill LaPointe, who's been my teammate forever, is phenomenal. And Steve, his ability with his teammates to raise money, we've raised $100 million. I almost got run out of town when I created the seat license. Remember the seat licensing deal? People were angry as heck at me about that. But I said to folks, I need you to invest in us, and I promise you we'll pay dividends for that.
Sports facility-wise, the campus is growing unbelievably under your guidance. Is there one project that kind of stands out as your crown jewel?
You know, it's interesting. That's a really interesting question. They're all phenomenal. If you've been in the center, they're all phenomenal. But I think the tipping point for me, because once you get the flywheel going, it's pretty easy with Father and saying, do what you need to do if you can raise the money to do it. There used to be an old white house in the middle of campus. I don't know if it was a farmhouse or if there was cows in there. I'm not sure what it was.
We used to keep Dominicans there.
Oh, is that what it was? They did have a vow of poverty. I can see what you were doing there. But when we knocked that down and put a parking structure underneath it, and I stole that idea, what we do at Cal, we had tennis courts on top, and put an AstroTurf field on top of it, that was the tipping point. And then from there, we went to the next. And we've had a vision, right? Steve and Jill forever. I still have a list of things we want to get accomplished down the road. But father said yes, and it dominoed. I promise you, you go around the country, we have the nicest facilities at that level in the country, bar none. Nobody has a Rain Fire Development Center like we have. So it's pretty cool to think where we started. I remember my opening press conference, I said that it looked like a bad high school. Well, Father Smith called me in his office. We had a conversation about it. I said, Father, you told me to be honest. This is a bad high school.
I'm sure a lot of people professionally, personally have a vision, they have goals. I wonder what went into your ability to execute those things over your 2 decades.
I like to build things. Like I'm driven by that conversation, the possibility. When I didn't get the job at Cal, part of my drive was to prove people wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it's normal, but it's like as a competitive person, you want to show that, hey, you made a mistake on this deal. But I didn't do anything other than provide the spark. I have the best staff and work at the best college in the country that find ways to say yes, right? So it happened because I had a belief and a drive, and I just wouldn't take no for an answer. But it's like an enrollment. If you get the right people on the bus and they believe in the energy and the passion, the whole thing starts to spiral. But it's all about people. And that's why I believe it's divine providence. I believe it's the Dominicans and what they provide here in a fabric that allows you to be great. You never micromanaged me. Father Sicard,
Nope.
They never said no to stuff.
We trusted you.
Never said no.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Maybe once in a while, but you always come back the third time and you'd say yes, right? The people. Like I told my wife the other day, when I had the conversation with my teammates, I feel like I'm abandoning my family, right? I mean, I really feel that way. I feel like I'm letting them down. It's like a lot of my teammates, a lot of my colleagues retired during the pandemic. I said, I can't leave my teammates during a pandemic. We have to work through it together, and said, let's have a growth mindset. Let's be better when we come out the other side. I think it's that. I mean, this is my family. I spent 21 years of my life, and these people I love dearly. The people and everybody, the entire fabric of Friartown. I was walking in the back door and the guy said, hey, thank you. He said, you don't know how important men's basketball has been to me. I went through a really tough year and my kids are struggling, but they love the Friars and it got us through. And so it's like, it has a bigger impact, right? That's what I miss, the people.
You said you're going to recreate yourself. What in your mind does that look like?
You know, I've had a life coach my whole life. Started with my dad, who I admired the heck out of World War II person. I'm here. My football coaches, my hockey coaches, people that really taught me the way. So what I want to do is I want to embrace my coaches. I hope that I'll continue to have some small role of talking to my coaches here, and if the next athletic director would allow that. And then I want to coach young coaches and young ADs. I think I can teach them a lot. So whether it's a coaching business, I want to travel around. I mean, I think I have a blueprint for how to be successful, and I have a lot I want to give back. I mean, it has nothing to do with money. It's just that I have something I need to share because I'm still young enough to do that and try to leave it in a better place. So yeah, coaching coaches and coaches ADs and helping Friartown continue to win championships somehow.
Bob, you mentioned over and over again about the importance of basketball here, how people like that. How important and how much does it help to have stability, the consistency you had in that job and that course, and how does that make your job easier to be able to build your thoughts?
What's the most important thing is the trickle-down effect, right? It's what drives the engine. It's what creates the resource. Us creating the new Big East has helped us. It's really the most important thing. And I give Ed all the credit. Now, Ed takes a lot of heat when he doesn't win games. It's next to being the president is probably the most difficult job on this campus because everybody expects you to be great. And it's hard. There's a lot of great coaches and a lot of great teams, but Ed deserves all the credit because of his energy and passion. He could have left, he had a job, he had the job offer at Michigan. I promise you, I sat in the room with him And it was Kathy, myself, and Nerese. Love you, Nerese. Nice to see you. And Ed. And we talked about that. And I'm sharing openly. And I hope I'm not speaking on behalf of Ed and Nerese, but they chose to stay in Friartown because of the people, because of Providence. Ed could go anywhere in the country. He's the most high-profile man of color as a coach in the country. He could leave tomorrow, but he stays because he loves Friartown. So continuity is important. We've got a cross-country coach who's been here 30-something years, best cross-country coach in the country. Nate Lehman is one of the best hockey coaches in the country. They stay at Providence College because we support them, give them what they need to be successful, but they stay because they know they're going to be loved and supported by it. A lot of places nowadays, it's a transaction. You win, great, you keep your job, you don't. You lose, you're fired. I think that's wrong in college athletics because we're really here for the kids, right? Continuity is the most important thing.
Bob, from your perspective, what's next for this athletic department?
It's unlimited. It really is unlimited. We've got the college has a new strategic plan. The athletic department is going to be a big part of that. Listen, we're the brand for the institution. We're on national TV today. You want to attract admissions and you want to raise money. Winning athletics is really, really critical. But we have a lot of great things, but there's still stuff that have to happen. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but we live in the Northeast. You need a bubble. You need something on one of the fields so the lacrosse teams, the soccer teams, and those folks can do it. Coach Knapp has done an amazing job fundraising. We need to endow coaching positions and scholarships. And, inflation is going up and it costs more to do it. We have to continue to raise money to put back in to support the program so that we can be successful. There's some more facility things, but it's also maybe creating a graduate programs and leadership through athletics. Father has a vision of creating a nursing program, which will be unbelievable. But we have the best leaders in athletics in the country. It'd be kind of cool to do something relative to athletics. And so there's always the next level. The Constitution is changing. How can we be a leader in that? The Big East is continuing to go. We have to negotiate a great new contract with Fox Sports, right? Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's endless and limitless, but really exciting.
Bob, everyone around here calls you coach. What does that mean?
It's really interesting. The people I admired and respected the most in my life were my mom and dad and my high school coaches. What I wanted to be was a physical education teacher and a coach, because my coaches made me who I am today. They were teachers first and foremost. Yeah, we wanted to win, but they taught me honesty, integrity, and character and selflessness, and that hard work pays. I mean, I love that, and I that's all I ever wanted to do. And so I coached for about 10 years, and I wasn't a good coach because I was frustrated a lot because I thought we were supposed to win every game. I probably wasn't mature enough. Then I thought, I can impact people. I've become an athletic director. Then I can actually manage the whole organization and then coach the coaches how to coach the young people. And then it's like paying it forward. Look, that's the highest honor I could get as somebody calling me a coach. It makes me feel good inside, right? High school teaching now, people don't look at them in the same. I think they're revered jobs, teaching and coaching and mentoring. So it's an honor to be called a coach. I love that. It warms my heart.
Father, what do you feel Bob's like?
He's transformed our program. He's transformed our campus. He has left his imprint on PC that we will not forget. And he's going to remain part of the Fryer family. I'm going to look to him for some coaching. And he's just been an amazing teammate to me and somebody I admire more than I can say. It's just been a blessing to work with Bob. And again, this is kind of sad for me to see Bob retiring. But I'm going to remain really close to Bob, and his legacy is going to remain intact. And it's going to continue with the new athletic director. The new athletic director is going to build on the foundation that Bob has created. And I'm really excited about that.
Father, on that note, what are some skills of a successful athletic director that fill the shoes of Bob?
Again, I want the new athletic director to run a program that is going to represent the college so well, that is going to put our student athletes first. I want to win championships. I want to do all the great things that Bob has been able to do. But the most important thing to me for Providence College is our reputation. And I think Bob has just done such a beautiful job. Again, the athletics program at PC has represented us so very, very well. Something we can be so proud of. That is one of the things I will expect from our next athletic director. Keep that same kind of integrity that that has really defined the way Bob has run things. And again, somebody with the passion that Bob has and the love for PC that Bob has. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things that can happen to us.
Can anybody be as good on Twitter as Bob?
Well, I wasn't real good early on. I used to sit at the games and I'd get these people that would troll me and tell me how bad coaching and stuff like that. And I would get in fights with them on Twitter and my numbers would go way up. And my son, who's a friar, goes, "Dad, what are you doing? You know, these people are attacking my program. I got to protect you. Stop texting them back." So I had to take the high ground on some of these things. But you know, it's part of being a leader. You got to figure out the new stuff. Listen, my wife screams at me all the time. We have a rule now. I walk in the house, I have to put my phone in the drop zone because I'm only allowed to look at it once in a while. I say, "Well, if Father Sicard called me, Father Shanley called me, you can look at it every half an hour and that's it," because you're on it all the time.
I think he cheats.
Any more questions?
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Go Friars. Get the win. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you,
Appreciate it, man. Nice job as always. You too.